Hi guys, it's me again for another video. First of all, we're on Senegal. As first human beings people in Senegal were kind of like hunter-gatherers from about 3000 BC. When they learned how to farm the land, and from about 500 BC, knowledge of how to make iron tools had reached Africa, and by about 500 AD, there was kind of like a more sophisticated society, which arose out of Senegal, capable of building stone circles, as towns and trade started to flourish. And by the 13th century, the Empire of Mali included much of West Africa, included Senegal, but the power of Mali declined by the 15th century. And when that happened, Senegal kind of broke off and up into several small little kingdoms, while Europeans were exploring West Africa, going to explore West Africa. As European Portuguese landed on Cape Verde in 1544, and the Portuguese began to trade with the Africans in the surrounding areas, and influence gradually grew. But by the early 16th century, the Portuguese settled in Brazil and needed slaves to work the sugar plantations, and so the slave trade began from Senegal. As slavery was not new in Senegal, but the Portuguese kind of took a larger amount of slaves from people from the area. And later in the 16th century, the English joined the slave trade. And by the early 17th, so did the Dutch and French, as the Dutch established a trading station on Ile de Gorée in 1617, as the French established a trading station in 1637, and they took Ile de Gorée from the Dutch in 1677. When during the 18th century the slave trade had flourished, but Europeans persuaded Africans from the coast to attack neighbouring tribes and take captives, as the captives were exchanged for goods like guns and cloth, and the slaves were then shipped across the Atlantic and all that to the Americas. But by 1807, the British had pretty much abolished slave trade. And by the 19th century, the British came ruling power along the River Gambia, but the French had advanced inland along the River Senegal. And in 1884-85, the European powers divided up Africa, and France was confirmed as to be the colonial masters of Senegal. And while in the early 20th century, Senegal was a prosperous colony exporting groundnuts, but in the 50s the demand for independence grew in Senegal, as finally they became independent on the 20th of June 1960. But at first they were joined with Mali, but the union was short-lived, as Senegal became a separate nation, and in the 20th of August 1960, Leopold Senghor became the first leader, and he introduced a new constitution 3 years later, in 1963. But as Senghor stepped down in 1980, as he was replaced by Adhoud Diouf, as Diouf was Senegal's president till 2000, where he was replaced by Abdoulaye Wade. And today the country is still poor, but place of things to help them, as the population is about 16 million. As Senegal is located along the coast of Western Africa, where it occupies about 75,951 square miles. As the country has a population somewhere around 15.41 million to 16 million. Senegal, like most countries in Africa, has been inhabited since prehistoric times. Niger, as the first recorded settlement, dates back to the 7th century. As during European expansion into Africa, Senegal had come under control under the previously mentioned countries, and as a result of this period of French rule, which lasted until 1960, the French language became and remains the official language of Senegal, as the French is used by the government to make public announcements, and it's the language of instruction in public schools. Although 15 to 20% of men and 1-2% of women are able to understand French. But the difference reflects a vast gender inequality residents of the country experience, as particularly in the formal education sector. Initial 21% of the population are particularly fluent in French because of official language designation. Senegal is a member of the International Organization of la Francophonie, as a number of other languages enjoy recognition as a national language, which means that a particular language may not be used by a wider range of individuals, as use is usually designated to a particular region or group of people. As the national languages of Senegal include Wolof, Pulaar, Mandinka, Balantaganji, Manjak, Hassania Arabic Noon, Jola Foni, Serer, Soninke, and Mankanya. Of these national languages, Wolof is the most widely spoken. Research indicates that Wolof is the first or second language of about 80% of the population of Senegal, as this language is considered the native tongue of the Wolof people, who inhabit the western regions of Africa and make up about 40% of the population of Senegal, and it was originally used by the Lebu people, and today Wolof can be heard throughout Senegal, Mauritania and Gambia, and it belongs to the Niger-Congo language family and the Senegambian subgroup, and is used so widespread in Senegal that Wolof is considered the language of business, or the lingua franca of the country. In addition to the large numbers of national languages spoken within Senegal, the country is also home to a number of minority languages, as the primary minority language is Portuguese. As the use of the language can be traced to Portugal's colonisation of the Casamance region, which was once the principal economic hub for Portugal, as colony in its capital, Ziguin. Portuguese is spoken by a majority of those living there. After gaining independence, the government in Senegal established Portuguese as one of the languages of secondary education. In 2008, the country was admitted into the community of Portuguese language countries, as both Portuguese immigrants and their descendants speak a dialect of Portuguese known as Guinea-Bissau Creole, as the Creole language is closely related to Cape Verdean Creole language. In Senegal, this serves as a trade language and is used in informal print and for entertainment purposes, as Guinea-Bissau Creole has approximately 310,000 second language speakers. So yeah, that is Senegal for you, and I'll see you very soon. So bye for now.